What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Vertical MRO podcast, where we dive into the vital aspects of helicopter maintenance. In this episode, we're thrilled to introduce our guests, Mr. Van Wilson of Bell, and a very good man and friend, Brad Fandrich of Valley Helicopters, who will guide us through this insightful discussion and expert tips aimed at enhancing operational safety and efficiency. Join us as we explore the positive outcomes from Vertical Magazine's recent OE poll, showcasing Bell's commitment to excellence in the helicopter industry. Tune in for valuable insights and engaging conversations. This is Vertical MRO. I'm Val. Let's get this going. Special thanks to our sponsors for this podcast, Rotorcraft Repair and Manufacturing, and Safe Structure Designs.
Welcome to the Vertical MRO podcast, brought to you by Vertical HeliCASTS.
All right, everyone, you're ready to contact. You're cleared to the Bravo.
The Vertical MRO podcast explores the fascinating world of helicopter maintenance, repair, and overhaul with your host, Val Medved.
Now line altimeter 3029, approved as requested.
The podcast features helicopter technicians, mechanics, engineers, and MRO experts who share invaluable industry insight, knowledge, and stories that will inspire current and aspiring industry maintainers.
Hey, everybody, it's Val here with Vertical MRO, back for another great session of really kind of talking to some pretty good guests today. Good friend of mine here that we're going to introduce here right away. And the other one is Brad. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about the OEM survey that was conducted over at MHM. And we have a couple of great guests here today, Mr. Brad Fandrich and Mr. Van Wilson. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know it's a little bit later on here for you, Van, so I appreciate you kind of sticking through this.
No problem.
I'm sure the supper bell is calling, and yet it's only 4:30 for Brad there. He's out on the West Coast there, so
no problem at all.
I want to take this a couple minutes here just to kind of I've introduced you guys here, but I'm going to give you a chance to kind of have you guys talk a little bit about yourself, and we're going to start with you, Van. Van Wilson, introduce yourself, sir.
Okay, thanks, Val. So Van Wilson, I'm the Director of Customer Solutions at Bell. I've been at Bell for 19 years now. I've been in the industry for about 35. So I started in Honeywell Engines in Phoenix, Arizona, way back at the beginning of my career. I was a turbine engineer working on testing and certification of turbine engines. So I did that for quite a while, and then I moved over to helicopters about 19 years ago, came to Bell. I've enjoyed it ever since. I love the business. It's a fun business to be in.
What's not to love? You get to talk about whirlybirds instead of, fixed wing, right? Come on now.
Yeah, absolutely. My education's in engineering, so I've got an aerospace engineering degree. So I've primarily been in engineering throughout my career. But I've been able to do some great things here at Bell with product improvements. And now I'm on the technical support side of the business. So all of our guys and gals out there in the field that are supporting our products every day. It's a great team of people.
Yeah.
Got them out there. And I've also got, internally, I've got our engineering support teams for the aftermarket. So it's a great group of people.
A lot of hats.
Yes.
A
Definitely.
lot of hats. Congratulations, sir. That's being a part of the industry, like you say, for over 19 years on the rotor wing side, but over 3 decades total. Congratulations, sir. That's quite an accomplishment. Well done, sir. Brad, we pale in comparison to this guy.
Yeah. No.
Brad Fandrich, welcome to Vertical MRO, buddy. Now's your turn. You get a chance to brag about yourself a little bit here.
I don't know. Just, I guess actually it was October 1990. I started as an apprentice engineer with Frontier Helicopters.
Oh, wow.
So 34 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And worked as apprentice for a while. Became a licensed engineer in the mid-1990s, and then learned to fly helicopters in the late 1990s. And I've been working at Valley since about 1995, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually have taken it over through held different positions over the years. Was director of maintenance for a little while. Currently, I'm the operations manager and the president.
Okay.
And we run all Bell fleet and based in Hope, British Columbia, and then with bases in Merritt and Kamloops.
What else is Hope famous for?
I like filmed Rambo there.
It is, yes.
Yes.
Fame. Yeah.
A wild man walking out of the Vietnam War
Yeah.
with a headband and slightly steroid muscles walking through town. What's this guy doing here?
Yeah. And those guys are still in town today.
Oh, he left some siblings behind, did he?
Yeah, there's still a bunch of them around. Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good.
Yeah.
I just recently saw that it was on AMC a couple weeks ago. I was like, oh, there's hope.
Yeah.
Well done. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead, brother.
Well, yeah. Anyway, so currently I do spend a lot more time at the desk than I do in the cockpit, but still a good place to be, and I still enjoy the business. And I appreciate you having me on your show.
Do it anytime. It's listen, us whirly birds. We got a sickness, and I'm glad I can kind of share it with like-minded people like yourselves.
Yeah.
So, what's your fleet consist of now?
Right now we're running 4 Jet Rangers, 206 L4, 2 407s, and a 429.
Nice.
No, we have some leased aircraft that we lease out to another operator as well.
Okay.
Maintenance-wise, we're responsible for.
Yeah. That's a healthy sized little fleet, brother. Congratulations on that.
Oh, thanks.
So well done. Well, this podcast, it came up in conversations with the OEM survey that Bell ranked very well, and I was able to kind of go back and check out some notes, and the overall rankings, you're only second. Bell is only second by a couple of points, nothing massive. So they had a strong showing in the vertical manufacturer survey in the year. Van, can I get your reaction to those results?
Well, they're obviously great. I mean, we love to see that. We love to see our customers satisfied with what we're doing, and we definitely pay attention. I mean, we look at this survey every year and try to understand, what the different areas are of feedback, where we're getting better, where we're getting worse, and
right.
It's fantastic. We feel really good about scoring.
I was just going to ask you, how do you feel about the responses that you received? Because not all of them, like there's a couple of ones that were marked there that, there are going to be and the one thing that I appreciated about the fact that it was printed is that there was great comments made, but there are all some real comments made and not necessarily something that you can kind of really brag about, but it sure will test your mettle. How do you feel about those as well?
Yeah, definitely a lot of comments about supply chain, spare part availability. That's a big issue for the industry right now. And we're struggling with that too. We always get comments about improving our technical publications, getting better there. So we're always looking at what we can do better there. So yeah, we're always looking at those comments and feedback, and not only from that survey, but from other interactions with our customers, and doing everything we can to do better.
I'll take a little bit off you there because I'm in the world as well where materials parent materials are affecting my side of the business as well that I'm involved in. That is, I think, I'm going to say, I don't want to quite put it as global, but it's almost global. It's a global issue on a lot of industries where there's a materials fall or material shortage, or because of whatever backlog. Like, I hate to still say it, but here we are, 2 years removed from, or actually longer than that now, right? 3 years removed from COVID.
Yeah.
But it's still nipping us in the butt as far as talent, as far as materials, as far as just overall kind of how we were operating before. Like, where did all these people go? Where all these parts go? Where did all the material go? Right. So it's an anomaly. It's an anomaly.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. What has been the key to keeping, earning and keeping the trust of Val customers when it comes to service and support?
Well, our goal is always to make our customers successful as best we can. So, if they're having a technical issue, we answer the phone as quickly as we can. We get on their issue as quickly as we can.
Right.
We bend over backwards to try to get them parts if we don't have them available. So, it's all about doing what's right for the customer and getting them flying again. So, and in a safe way too. We obviously want to promote safety, and that's key.
Right.
And that's what our team tries to do.
You guys are innovators in a lot of way there too, because we've just recently launched on this show the old vertical tech talk with Bell.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
talk about getting ahead with technology and kind of really appealing to the younger side of our network, because these podcasts, these kids are eating it up, and I'm all about it. It's great. Plus, this camera makes me look about 20 years younger.
And it's actually great for our team too. I mean, it builds morale. They like to be able to talk about our business, let our customers understand what we're doing so that we can help them out. So it's a fantastic venue for us to talk about what we're doing and what our customers, are doing as well.
Love to have you guys anytime. And anybody who's listening to this, if there's ever a chance to gonna get on board with us on this, feel free to do so. Like the more forums we can kind of open up to conversation, especially in operating Bell helicopters. I welcome it, and please email, there's going to be links probably below in one place or another, but just email us and we're more than happy to handle the questions. And that goes right even to your Bell tech support as well too. So congrats on that as well. Brad, I know you kind of told us what your fleet size is and your general kind of overview of your size of your company, which is awesome. But what markets do you serve with? Like, cause you have a vast variety of 206s to 407s and now the old sexy 429.
Yeah. We service a lot of, let's say, industrial users. Those are our main clientele.
Yep.
And that can be anything from pipeline companies to power line companies to firefighting, lots of sort of a big variety of things, where it's one of the things I like about our business is we never know what we're going to be doing day to day. It's always dynamic. It's always changing. New challenges, have to be innovative to figure out how to do things. So I like that kind of a challenge. So our fleet has sort of adapted to the nuances that our customers bring to us.
Okay.
And for example, we have 206s, which are, they're a bit of a legacy aircraft. There's no hiding that. And
a bit.
When we have some clients that are cost conscious, and there's not a lot of other aircraft out there that burn 110 liters an hour to 25 gallons an hour.
Right.
And can take two people anywhere. Some of these clients don't have the budget to pay for bigger aircraft, and so that machine type fits some of our clients. And then the other intermediate aircraft, the L4 and the 407, they fit some other clients we've got. Right. And now the 429, it's rolling into another type of demand of client that we've got. So this weekend we're doing a Netflix show that they require twin engine aircraft, and we would never do that work if it wasn't for that aircraft.
Is it Airwolf 2?
I'm not anyways, you have to watch a lot of Netflix and eventually you'll see.
That's gonna have to happen, man. Yeah. It's gonna have to happen. Well, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome. It's like and that's it's probably that's what I can probably say is, like, especially when you get into identifying what your customer needs are, and you've kind of built your portfolio, which is your helicopter fleet, and you're kind of rallying around that, and you're kind of really attracting a whole different customer base now, especially when you're jumping into a 429 sector.
Yeah. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we were flying the president of an extremely large pipeline company because they want a modern twin for their high net worth individuals. And these are just things that we never used to do before, and we're kind of evolving into it.
Yeah.
And then that aircraft, the fire agencies absolutely loved it because of its speed. So we're displaying it for our customers, and some of them really, really enjoy it.
You get to show off a little bit the shiny parts, right?
Yeah.
Attaboy.
So
that's the Brad. Yeah. Good work.
So when you're Netflixing and chilling.
Yeah, no, hey, whoa. It's a family-friendly show.
You can watch that machine.
That's awesome. So we've now covered that you're an all Bell, operator, exclusively operating Bell. I'm going to say that you're happy with the service you've been getting from Bell for all these years, and why?
Yeah, Bell has been a really great, stable platform for us. I'm not going to say so much for the engines lately because they're not Bell's issue.
Yeah, all right.
The engines I'm not going to lie, they've challenged us the last couple of years.
I believe it.
But yeah, Bell themselves, we have not had any really difficult issues that we couldn't overcome. And part of it is because of the mass numbers that have been produced, there's parts available, and Bell supported their fleets. They produced a lot of these different airframe types. And so it's not the types of aircraft we're operating, not onesie twosies. So there's parts availability in there. And that's really important when you're going to operate aircraft and turn large amount of hours.
Yeah.
So, we're thankful that Bell is, Bell's been there for us, and occasionally there's been a lot of lead times, but we've got spares and we've never sort of had to go without.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, your metal's tested on not necessarily like everybody loves your approach. And if you're if you're operating in a nice, fair type of atmosphere where your metal gets tested when the shortages or the mistakes or problems happen, that's when your metal's tested, right? So it sounds like they've kind of really looked after you for a longer time too.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to speak to the engines because I know those aren't Bells, but
right,
the engines they've strained our operating style.
Understandable.
So, yeah.
Understandable. Yeah, that's a whole different beast. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
Yep. Van, what are some of the guiding principles or philosophies that underpin your approach to supporting the customers on the maintenance side of the world?
Thank you to our sponsors, Safe Structure Designs. Safe Structure Designs specializes in custom aircraft maintenance stands and hangar equipment, boosting hangar efficiency by 50% and enhancing technician safety. With over 20 years of experience alongside real-world aircraft technicians, SAFE develops industry-leading ergonomic safety solutions. Why not take advantage of SAFE's free custom design process for your safety and efficiency needs and let them create your ideal solution? Visit www.safe-2.com to learn more.
One of the key things is we have a great group of people that are trained very well. They understand our product, they understand our customers, and they get out there and make sure the customers are getting taken care of, operating safely, and that's the primary thing for the external customer support, technical support guys.
Right.
I've also got team of internal people that are, doing designs for aftermarket kits. And we also support all of our legacy aircraft with obsolescence and safety issues. I'll keep harping on it. Safety is key in this industry. And,
harp away. You're flying stuff.
It's the heart of what we do. And, make sure that our helicopters are safe, make sure we're making quality parts, getting quality product out there. Yeah, those are some of the key things that we look to do.
In my past conversations with Greg Judd and Mark Dubé, they stated that the internal customer is as important as the external customer.
Yep.
And I'm a firm believer of that. Having your inside guys, feel the appreciation from the outside guys, as well as that can kind of be relayed over to the customer side, which is in Brad's case, it sounds like it's kind of paying off in dividends.
Yeah, absolutely. And, another thing that I preach with my team is, there's people that are out interfacing with customers and the product all the time, but people in the office don't have that interaction. So we're very much about communicating back what's going on in the field back into Bell, make sure that everyone understands, what's happening, how it's affecting our customers, so that, they feel the urgency as well.
Communication is a key pillar. 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
100%. I got to imagine that, especially Brad, when you're kind of walking into a situation there with one of your helicopters, are you finding the response is pretty quick back to you, or is it?
With Van's teams, like the three tech reps that we deal with in Western Canada, like normally we deal with Erin McMahon. She's down the road from us. She knows us on a first name basis, obviously. Sego, he's just in Kelowna. We deal with Sego regularly. Varen's on holidays or she's working out of town. Sego covers, and Mike Doucette in Calgary there is another wealth of knowledge, and he knows us by name because he's been over here helping us through any issues we've had. So like we've got long-term relationships with these people, and their technical expertise is well valued and appreciated.
Doucette's been around for a long time.
Right. Yeah.
And Aaron's father was also a customer service engineer.
Oh, wow. Okay. So there's a legacy path there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Spectacular. Are you finding that like generally in our industry, there's some like, oh man, I hate to say it, but I guess I'm in that old boy character, but there's some old boys in our character where that's just the way it is. And that's just because we've gotten that reputation in dealing with particular company XYZ or Z because they're Canadian. But is like, are you finding that I'm from my experience, I see a lot of Bell employees that have their either parents, mom or dad, they used to work at the company. I'm glad to hear that this is happening out west as well.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of them, especially in our factories. I mean, Bell's been here in Texas since the 1950s, and we have 3 generations of families that have worked for Bell. So it's really neat.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, I guess, and in Brad's case too, right? You're second generation now too, aren't you?
It seems to be really common that if the parents had the addiction, so did the kids. So the kids had it too. I don't want to draw any parallels to addictions, but it's common that people get generationally into it.
Well, I've said it once on the show. I'll say it 1,000 more times. There's only really one way out of helicopters. There really is. Like it's just you ride it out. Like it's kind of like the Casa Nostra, right? Like there's only one way out. That's awesome. It's awesome. For Van, just like any other manufacturer, Van, Bell had issues to supply chain during the pandemic. Where do you stand now in terms of supply chain resiliency in comparison to 3 or 4 years ago? I think we covered a little bit about this, but yeah, we'll double dip into it.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's slowly getting out of the pandemic situation. It's not near as fast as we'd like it to be. We still have material shortages. We still have issues getting forgings and castings. The basics of what you need for a helicopter are still very difficult to source. And it's not just Bell. I mean, the industry uses a lot of the same suppliers. So, it's an issue across the board. We also saw during the pandemic that a lot of companies didn't come out of it in good financial shape, and they just decided to go out of business.
Yep.
So that has made it difficult for us because we've had to, look at different suppliers, look at, should we bring that in-house?
Yeah.
Should we continue to have a supply base? Should we have multiple suppliers? So, we've looked at all of that throughout this journey of trying to get back on track.
You kind of beat me to the next question on that one is how did you guys ensure, or how are steps being taken, if you can talk to it, to kind of ensure that they don't pop up? If you got a couple examples, that'd be great.
Yeah. So, we're looking at every component a little bit differently. For instance, castings, we used to have multiple casting houses that we would go to, and we'd have options there. And a lot of casting companies went out of business. And so we've had to focus on a few and work with them to make things better.
Mm-hmm. We've
also looked from an engineering standpoint of, rather than doing a casting, can we do a machined hog out? And, we've done that in a few cases where, we can find different alternatives. And another thing that we've done, and this sort of strays away from the actual supply chain, but because of not having enough parts, we've partnered with Boeing on getting used serviceable material. So certified Bell serviceable material that can be used, overhauled gearboxes, that sort of thing,
Right.
and partnered with them so our customers can also go that path if needed.
A double set of qualifications and standards.
Yeah, exactly.
In a good way. And I'm sorry not to kind of not to put a negative spin on that, not like a double entendre, but a like a double set of eyes kind of qualifying it to the good.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
So yeah, we've had to get pretty creative in making sure we're supplying parts to our customers.
Yeah. Key philosophy on that one there is what's the takeaway from the key philosophy of all of this there with Bell?
The key philosophy around supply chain?
Yeah. Supply chain support more so. Yeah.
We try to be flexible around, we're not going all vertical integration and trying to build everything in-house. We have quite a big supply chain that we rely on.
Are you looking at more of that?
No.
Okay.
No, I would say slightly less, that we're going more toward vertical integration than adding more suppliers.
There we are. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I should have clarified that question. My apologies. Yeah.
No, it's fine. But that doesn't always make sense depending on, what component it is, what technology goes into it. Sometimes we need to just rely on good suppliers and make that work.
Yeah. That vertical integration is that's a balancing act.
Yes, it is.
And then when you have to look at, the cost of it all and the efficiency more so, and just when are they going to be said to be ready versus, what was promised and what was delivered. That's it's a fine balancing act, my friend. I go through it all the time. Brad knows. Brad knows. We won't even get into talking about we're not talking engine stuff with him. On the Bell side of it all, has there been a significant investment into redundancy?
Yes. We've got a great supply chain team. They've, been working very hard to make sure that the suppliers that we do have are capable, can provide quality parts and at the volumes that we need them in.
Right.
In some cases, we try to have at least 2 suppliers, maybe 3 suppliers, depending on component.
Okay.
For redundancy. So, the supply chain team is great at doing that. That's not my responsibility directly, but
yeah, fair.
We rely heavily on that team to help our customers be successful. So they're doing a great job.
You can talk from an observational
point. Yeah, they're doing
a
great job. And
nice.
And although going back to the survey, overall that was probably the biggest topic for comments in the survey this year, I will say that Bell, did a little bit better. If you look at the other manufacturers compared to Bell, we did a little bit better. So
yeah,
that's good.
Yeah. Truth be told, I've never heard of Gimbal until this survey. I don't know who they were.
Yeah.
And then I found out they're a company based out of France. I was like, okay. So I think I'm going to take a quote here right from the magazine. It says, "We feel that Bell understands our missions and values. The relationship we've had over the past several years, Bell is very responsive, largely due to our salesperson who answers the phone and gets results 24/7, 365. Wow. Did you write that, Brad?
I don't know, but I understand and appreciate customer support like that, because that's kind of what we want to bring to our customers. Is we want to be their final solution, one-stop shop. They phone us, they get a helicopter, and we want to be able to do the same with our suppliers and our vendors to say, hey, our customers expect that out of us. I would love to be able to expect that out of our suppliers. And I was, like I said, it's in our type of business, emergency services, things like that. It's important that we can make things happen right now.
My neck of the woods there is I've always tried to kind of preach to everybody that the helicopter is not making anybody any money or service on the ground. Yeah. So the quicker that it's up, the better that it's flying. It's good for everybody. So just to kind of touch base on there, Brad. So you've been in business. The company has been around for over 40 years now, right?
Just shy of 39 years, just about 40 years next April or February.
Okay. That's a long time.
Yeah.
With that being said, how has that longevity of relationship been with Bell to kind of manage with you and kind of help you kind of support what you just said about your customers on your side of the world?
Thank you to our sponsor, Rotorcraft Repair and Manufacturing, manufacturer of DSX, Dragon Skin Extreme, an FFA approved rotor blade leading edge erosion corrosion protective coating with a proven record of durability in harsh environments like sand and rain. Contact Seth at rotorcraft.biz and stop wasting money on other so-called erosion coatings.
Well, when things are going well, we don't have a lot of interaction really with.
That's a good thing. No. You hit the nail on the head for sure.
Yeah. The service centers, Bell service centers, they handle our day-to-day stuff. And so we can, have components overhauled and parts through the service centers, and we don't deal with the mothership very often. And then unless there's, say, a technical problem, something like that.
Yeah.
So as long as the CSFs are flowing, we're just going about our business. There's always some things that come down from on the highs, the cost of parts, list pricing, I do take notice when parts price increases outpace inflation, that those things get our attention as operators, because sometimes we'll be in multi-year contracts and all of a sudden we'll be hit with, cost increases that we didn't forecast. And so those are challenges to us. One of the things I'd love to see the board of directors and some of these large corporations know that the end customer, who is really what built businesses, they have to be viable and continue. And they're, I don't want to say more important than shareholders, returns, but I think it should be valued that the customer, the very end customers, really have to succeed in order for the shareholders to get their profits. And so I think they need to, a lot of these corporations need to really focus on their actual customers, not on the shareholders so much.
Right.
I understand it's a balancing act, but it's a partnership really that, we require the aircraft and they support us. And so we need each other. So I really appreciate for all the years how Bell has worked with us, and we've been viable all these years. And that is a testament to how our reliability with the aircraft, profitability, all those things with Bell over the years. So it's a partnership for sure.
Sounds like you've been in a jam or two. Give us an example how they pulled you out of one.
We had some blade issues a few years ago, and with 407, and Bell worked hard and got us blades. That's an example where there was no blades to be had and blades arrived. Things like that. So that goes a long way with us.
Sure.
We appreciate the support when your option is park the helicopter and there's no jet fuel being burned, or our supplier Bell, they go through the hard parts and they make things happen for us. So we really appreciate things like that.
Good. Yeah. And rotor blades are such a touchy subject too on all platforms, not just Bell, all platforms.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
and
Brad.
especially when you get into legacy aircraft, I feel that, 212 blades are rare as chicken's teeth from what I hear.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So, there's just, it is interesting to watch how the manufacturers over the years have started to look at, accepting some PMA things supporting their fleets. Van Horn Terrator blades, for example. Now you buy those through Aeronautical Accessories, whereas at one time those were not. They weren't competition.
Right.
So it's interesting how Bell's sort of thinking outside the box for some of that stuff.
Gotcha.
I was just going to say, we have strategically worked with, a few suppliers that do PMA. It's not widespread, but when it made sense for our customers, we've gone in that direction.
Yeah. And I could see Bell's point in that, it may not be a viable business for them to keep going with that product line. That's a legacy product line, but the customers that are operating those fleets do appreciate, that one part's not available through Bell, but the other 9,000 are. Let's just operate it a little while longer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think you and I kind of went through that on some bearings there, right?
So, we did. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're not talking about engines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so. This is kind of a touchy question here. This kind of got put onto us here. One of the things Bell customers have been asking for is a new medium helicopter. Can you tell us a bit how you plan to address that? I'm looking at you on that one, Van.
I'm sure you are.
Yeah. Is there a new one in development?
Well, I can't really comment on that.
Fair. That's understandable. Yep.
But we're always looking at what the market is demanding, what we can develop to fulfill that need. We're currently getting at the end of developing the 525, that's been quite an effort for a new clean sheet aircraft development and certification.
Yep.
So we're getting close to the end of that. And
beautiful aircraft, by the way.
Yes, it is.
For the ones that they've had at the shows. Holy smokes.
Yeah. Very much looking forward to getting that out in the field. So, a lot of it has to do with bandwidth of, what we can do as a company.
Right.
That's been our focus over the past few years is the 525. And I'm sure as we move forward, we'll look to see what makes most sense for development going forward. And,
sure.
I will point out that, since I've been at Bell for the last 19 years, we've made a lot of improvements to our existing products. The 412 has gone from the EP to the EPI. It's the EPX. I've been personally involved a lot on the 407. When I came to Bell, it was what we call the analog 407, so analog cockpit. And we did a lot of upgrades to that helicopter with the engines, with the Garmin avionics. And
we don't talk engines right now.
Right. No.
Sorry, Brad takes a sip. I apologize. Go ahead, Matt.
But my point is they're not clean sheet design
right
helicopters, but we made a lot of improvements over the years on existing platforms.
So would you say that there's there's a robust uptick there to support some of the legacy platforms like the 407 and the 412s, 212s particularly?
Yes, we are committed to continue to support those aircraft, and where it makes sense, do upgrades to improve the performance. So yes, we're definitely going to continue to do that.
It has a great record. Robust, I think, is the common word when considering 212s, 412s. 407's kind of like the fast Corvette of the sky. I don't want to call it Ferrari. Fast Corvette of the sky when that thing kind of gets up and rolling. And Brad, you can kind of jump in here anytime here because I'm pretty sure you used to have a 212.
We have two of them. We have two of them. We lease out to another company.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah. So we supply all the dynamic components to that machine. So part supply for that is ours. And so far we haven't really had any supply chain issues with the 212s. We've been able to keep those going. A 407s, for the type of work we do, the utility work, we do a lot of long lining with them.
Yeah.
Beautiful long line platform. They lift really well for their size. Pilots love them for the stability while long lining. They take a great load. They've been a really good long line platform for us.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Nice. My world is inundated with the drive shaft upgrade lately on the 212s.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that's people are interested in talking about it, and they're just kind of at least kind of probing the questions of it. I said, yeah, it's pretty badass. So
yeah,
you putting something like a Command K-Flex drive shaft into a 212 helicopter, which is already pretty kick-ass. You have a robust machine for a long, long time if you needed it.
Yeah.
What would you like to see more of Bell there, Brad?
What would I like to see more?
You want to take a sip first?
Well, we not big.
Hold on, we got to get a bottle here, right?
You know, honestly,
Let's put it this way: if you had a wish list,
about a wish list, I would like to see the price stability, I guess, predictability and stability.
Okay.
In the pricing. That would be an ask. Like I said, so far supply chain, we haven't been stopped cold by any parts. We've been able to keep operating seamlessly with the Bell stuff. But I do hear rumors, whether it's masts, I've got a 407 mast on order right now. I'm trying to forecast that 6 months in advance because there's none available. So, but we also have a lot of spares. We have a spare mast, so we're okay. But I'm forecasting further than I really used to have to forecast.
Okay.
Because of supply chain issues. So, and just through the Moccasin Telegraph, you hear that, okay.
Through the what?
The Moccasin Telegraph, you hear that blades aren't available or masts aren't available. And you kind of think, okay, if I've got something like this coming up, I'm going to look 2 years down the way. I want to make sure I've got something on the order board really early in. I'd love to see not a 6 month to year wait list on some of those key items. I get it if it's an obscure, a 204 tailboom fitting or something that you might sell one every 5 years. Well, I don't expect those to be around. But a 407 mast, when you've got thousands of 407s out there, it would be nice to have a few of those on the shelf.
Yeah, this kind of goes back to what Van and we were just talking about earlier, as far as the special materials and the materials needed into said helicopters. Yeah, you're right. It's almost an epidemic.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was a combination of COVID, the pandemic, combined with the raw materials heading for war, is some of the stuff that was coming out of Russia or going to Ukraine, are those raw materials not available anymore, or are they getting used up for other necessities and they're not available for commercial aircraft? I don't know. I'm just dreaming that someday we can get some predictability in our spare supplies.
Yeah. Any rebuttal to that there, Van?
I agree. I don't know. I don't know all the root causes either. I do think that a lot of materials came out of Ukraine, so that definitely had an impact.
Oh, okay.
But that's not the only reason. It's just another contributor to the issue.
Yep. It's like I said, COVID kind of seemed to have exposed us, because I know I was never busier. And that was just to kind of keep up with demand. And I think we've exhausted a lot of our resources. I've exhausted a lot of the vendors that we were at. Kind of what Van, you were mentioning, Elson, going multi-vendor support was a necessity in a lot of companies. And I'm sure Bell had to kind of redirect a lot of their attention to that particular approach alone. So I think we're all kind of dealing with it. Brad, I feel your pain on it, because there's many, many times where I've gotten a phone call there like that, I can't get it from him, or do you have an extra? I'm just like, I got it on order, but I'm like 26 weeks out, and that doesn't do you any good right now. So it's just, it's a tragedy. It's an absolute tragedy.
Yeah. Something else that's been I guess it's probably some sort of shift at a board of directors level, way above my pay grade. The concept of the operators holding all the spares, and no one wanting to hold any inventory. And I don't care if that's Boeing, Bell, anybody. Nobody wants to hold inventory because it looks expensive. And of course, as operators, we need the inventory from somewhere. Either we're going to hold it or somebody's got to hold it. It's like nobody wants to have the responsibility to hold this stuff in stock, so they try and push it off. And it's really hard to forecast fire season. So you don't know if you're going to have a bad wildfire season, so you can't predict whether you're going to fly 200 hours or 600 hours. And so for our type of business, it's really hard to forecast utilization.
Yeah.
And so to hold spares, I would love to see some of the suppliers hold just a bit more spares on the shelf.
You seeing more lean operations and more lean kind of observations on your side?
Yeah. Like it just definitely feels like some accountant somewhere is saying, we don't want this inventory to sit on our books. We want somebody else to take this responsibility, and they try and get rid of it. But ultimately falls to us, but we can't keep a whole spare helicopter, even though sometimes it feels like we do. But it would be nice to have a few more spares at the supply chain centers, not necessarily even at the CSFs, like back at the mothership. I always envisioned in my novel dream that the mothership would hold the spares for a lot of this stuff. So
someone forgot to turn off the old mast machine or something.
Yeah. And like really if the CEO, the profit from the CEO should be a direct reflection of their clients, well, they got to keep their clients happy. And that means having spares, having good network of, like you say, vendors to keep everything flowing when we need it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, in a perfect world, that would be the case, but it seems like our world got switched there a few years ago.
Yeah, we're in some challenging times, and we have been for a while.
Yeah.
It's unlike anything that was what was the norm. It's not the norm that I don't know what the norm is, but it's not what it once was.
No. I'll address the next one here too, because this will probably be on both just the OE side and the operator side here. With pilot training has always been a strong suit at Bell. This year, Vertical saw a statistically significant decline in its survey results on that topic. Can you tell me a little bit how you plan to improve pilot training in the future there, Van?
The Vertical MRO podcast is powered by Vertical Magazine, the rotorcraft industry's #1 trusted multimedia resource. Visit Vertical Mag Media on YouTube to gain access to exclusive videos featuring operators in the field and more unique content from the pages of Vertical. Subscribe today to stay informed and inspired.
Yeah, good question. I don't know the root causes of why those comments were made. I'm not directly working the Bell Training Academy piece of it.
Yep.
So I don't really understand why that rating went down. So I'd have to ask my colleagues about that.
Yeah. Okay. Understandable. Go ahead, Brad. Jump in.
And I'm speaking a little bit historically. We bought 2 brand new 407s over the years. Rolled right off the factory line. We picked them up and put a cargo hook on them and a bubble door and went to work. And both of them came with pilot training packages as part of the purchase. And the first machine we got, I went down to the training academy and I had a phenomenal experience. It was excellent. Some of the best training I've ever had in my life. Phenomenal instructors. And you could feel that the training academy was a lot of senior individuals with a lot of experience, and it was really well done. The next aircraft we bought, we sent another pilot down years later, and he didn't have the same experience. He felt like it was a bit more of it was the minimum standard. He got his training, but it wasn't above and beyond what we could have gotten sort of through our experienced pilots in-house. And it felt like, I guess I'm being pretty critical here, but that could be what you're seeing in these results, is that they're meeting the standard, but they're not they're not the top of the standard from what I had heard.
But is this going to be a difference of opinion?
Could be. It could be one instructor specific.
I'm playing devil's advocate here. That's the reason why I asked that. So
like I said, I felt I had a great instructor, and the guy was with the other pilot we sent down years later. It didn't sound like he had the same experience. So I know Van, you're not in the training academy, but it was just a comment from our guys. So I could believe why the survey may have reflected that.
Well, this is now going to be on the internet, and you're going to be forever locked to your words.
I'll blame it on the bourbon.
But that's good. That's good feedback. We like to hear customers' viewpoints on how we're running our business. So I'll definitely get that feedback back to the training academy.
Van, if there's one thing I can ever tell you about Brad, he doesn't blow smoke.
I just sometimes.
He will not. That's it, this podcast won't be that long on how many bourbons you decide to kind of sit back with you there. And there'll be a time where you and I will sit back with some, and then we'll blow smoke at that particular point. But this particular moment, no. So I can always kind of count on Brad for some good, honest truth. So appreciate that.
I figured this might be the platform if you wanted to hear some stuff, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Well, that's just exactly what these forums are all about. That's exactly what these podcasts are all about, because we want to get people talking about it, right? And if we can kind of get people talking about it, anytime you kind of bring up a particular issue, it usually leads to a solution. And the solution is always a good, for the industry and our market, right? So it's...
Yeah. I know in our business, when I hear the bad things that might go on in our operation,
sure,
it is just motivator for me to try and fix it.
Absolutely.
Yes, I want to make this better.
Yep.
So I hope that if there's anything that resembles accuracy in what I've just said, that maybe there's something to take away there.
Yeah. Leading into this next one here, Van, this one's going to be you. Obviously, the survey results were great again this year overall. Where do you go from here, buddy? Where have you identified any areas you plan to improve?
I mean, I always look at the results. I dig into the areas that my team's got responsibility for to see what we can do to improve. I'll give one example. We got several comments from customers in Mexico about needing better technical support. We did have an individual retire from Mexico, and we're in the process of doing some backfilling. So it didn't really surprise me to see, support's not what it needs to be in Mexico. So, that's just one example of the survey showed us that. I mean, we sort of understood that there was some improvement there anyway, but, that's one example. I've got responsibility for our technical publications, and we always get a lot of comments about technical publications because a lot of maintainers fill out the survey and they're dealing with the books every day. They obviously want to see improvements as it goes forward. So we obviously look at those things and try to do our best to improve our technical publications. One of the complaints that we've got over the past couple of years is it's important to have an offline viewer of your publications, because you can't always be in the shop with good internet to be able to look at your books. So
right.
So we did have an issue a couple of years ago with our offline viewer and it not being so great. So we've invested quite a bit in making improvements to the offline viewer. We totally recoded the way we're doing that, and the feedback I'm getting now is it's a lot better than it was. So we're definitely utilizing, feedback from this survey and other feedback that we get from customers to improve.
Okay, if you could send a message to all your existing customers like Brad and AMEs who maintain them, what would it be? What would you hope to take away from this conversation?
I guess my primary message is that we're here to help you, to help you run your business better, to make sure your helicopters are turning rotors every day. And, we have a great group of professionals that can help you do that. We're not always going to be perfect, but, we try to be as supportive and quick with our responses as possible. We have a bunch of people that are extremely passionate about the industry and helicopters in general. So, that's my message, is that we're here to help, and we will continue to see what we can do to, bring products to the market to make things better.
Awesome. I think Brad spoke about this earlier too. You got your friendly neighborhood Bell techs there too, right? So you kind of nailed it on the head there. When you have someone that's local and able to kind of support you in a way where if they're not in, there's a backup, and there's a backup to the backup. Brad, you spoke about it very well there.
We're a customer service oriented business. And I love the fact that on a Tuesday afternoon, a Bell tech rep will randomly walk in our shop and say, "How's it going? Any problems?" We're like, you know what? No, but if there was on a Tuesday afternoon, you're right here and I can talk to you. Like, the fact that they will show up when they're driving by and they're just pull in and say hi and just check on us.
I've driven by and you've always kind of said, move along.
You know, but that to me is great customer service.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they're inviting feedback by driving into our driveway and coming into our hangar and saying, hey, what do you need? What are you having challenges with? And it happens several times a year.
Yep.
And I'm not talking every once in a while. This is the kind of thing that I really appreciate operating.
Awesome.
Wells.
Well, I think it's also a character to the individuals that kind of put that passion into their job. Van, you're into your career now. You said how long?
35 years.
35 years. Brad?
34.
34. I'm 26. So generally speaking, again, we're like-minded individuals that have been around been around the block a few times. That we also know at the basis of every relationship is that good relationship building stone of checking in and of being true to yourself, to your customer base, right? So it's, you are to Brad as you are to Van, as you are to Val, that kind of thing, right? So it's, having those kind of reps in place and having that ability to kind of check in, times good or bad, it's worth your weight in salt for sure.
And I'm sure there's times the tech reps stop by and they have wished they hadn't stopped by. But generally, we appreciate it either way.
Yeah.
But is there's times where, we just happen to be at a frustrating point with, some magnesium housing, just the threads just stripped out or whatever. And they stop by. But other times it's going great and there's nothing wrong. And we have a coffee and a visit and that's all it takes.
Those are the best. Yeah. Those are the best. Especially when the coffee is paid for by that tech rep. Hey. Guys, awesome podcast here. Brad, I'll leave the final words. Any final thoughts before we take off?
No, nothing off the top of my head.
No?
Is there something I should?
No. It's just literally, it's go ahead.
One thing I appreciate, I want to say this about the manual revisions, is that when I get a manual revision and we look through the chapter 4s and chapter 5s and the lives got longer, or something went from having a life to on condition, that I really appreciate that kind of customer service too.
Awesome.
Those are the continuous review that you guys are doing of your chapter 4, chapter 5s, of extending lives, and if a retirement live's not required, removing it. That's appreciated. Please don't give that up. So
we definitely won't. Yeah, we definitely look at that on a regular basis. And, a couple of our aircraft are under Maintenance Steering Group 3, MSG 3, the 505 and the 429. And in those programs, we get feedback as to, what customers are finding during those inspections, and we'll continue to see what we can do to extend inspections or extend lives, that sort of thing. So it's definitely something that we look at.
Years ago, we used to operate Bell 47 G2s, wood blades, the whole deal. And the inspection criterion, that the man hours per aircraft hour flown, they were high. They were heavy maintenance aircraft. And as we've gone along with newer technology aircraft, the man hours per hour flown just get further and further apart. And that is great to see, because it is, as every industry, we're shorthanded with people continuously. So the more hours we can operate the aircraft with a few less man hours, it's really appreciated as well.
Bell 47 is really awesome. The big bubbles.
Yeah.
Good work.
Yeah.
Good work.
Oh, yeah.
Gents, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on Vertical MRO. I really do appreciate your time. Van, thanks for putting a little OT. I know the sun's gone down in your neck of the woods there probably for a bit now, as it has in mine.
Yeah.
Brad, you're just getting warmed up. What's the bourbon in the cup? What are we drinking?
It is Knob Creek.
Oh, Knob Creek. Good work. Good work. Good work. Keep on sipping that. Van, get yourself home to. Are you a Scotch or bourbon guy?
A bourbon, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, flavor of choice?
I actually like High West. It's made out in Utah.
Oh,
It's really
Yeah,
good.
I've heard of it. I've never tried it.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm a bourbon guy myself. I went down that rabbit hole during COVID, and there's a time there all of a sudden Blanton's became this $400 bourbon. Like, what? It's an $80 bottle. Come on, get off that horse. So, well, boys, next time that we're all going to get together, first round's on me for kind of coming on board and kind of being on board with this. Again, thank you for kind of being a part of the survey and kind of scoring as well as you guys did. Brad, thanks for kind of contributing to that, and I'm glad that you were chosen as an individual to talk about it, considering your fleet. So I really do appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Well, thanks for inviting us.
No
Thanks,
problem.
Val. Appreciate it.
Anytime, guys. So to that, I say to our listeners, thanks a lot, and to our viewers now, because this will be on YouTube. So smile pretty. Make sure you tell your moms about it. But to our listeners, thanks for listening to Vertical MRO. And we'll see you guys next week or another time. Stand by for a message after a word from our sponsors.
Thank you to our sponsors, Safe Structure Designs. Safe Structure Designs specializes in custom aircraft maintenance stands and hangar equipment, boosting hangar efficiency by 50% and enhancing technician safety. With over 20 years of experience alongside real-world aircraft technicians, SAFE develops industry-leading ergonomic safety solutions. Why not take advantage of SAFE's free custom design process for your safety and efficiency needs and let them create your ideal solution? Visit www.safe-2.com to learn more. Thank you to our sponsor, Rotorcraft Repair and Manufacturing, manufacturer of DSX, Dragon Skin Extreme, an FFA-approved rotor blade leading-edge erosion corrosion protective coating with a proven record of durability in harsh environments like sand and rain. Contact Seth at rotorcraft.biz and stop wasting money on other so-called erosion coatings.
The Vertical MRO podcast is powered by Vertical Magazine, the rotorcraft industry's #1 trusted multimedia resource. Visit Vertical Mag Media on YouTube to gain access to exclusive videos featuring operators in the field and more unique content from the pages of Vertical. Subscribe today to stay informed and inspired.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Vertical MRO Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our conversation with Mr. Van Wilson from Bell and our good friend Brad Fandrich from Valley Helicopters. Their insights on helicopter maintenance and operational safety were truly invaluable. As we wrap up, remember that maintaining excellence in the helicopter industry is a continuous journey. We encourage you to implement the expert tips shared today and stay engaged with the latest trends and innovations in helicopter maintenance. Don't forget to subscribe to the Vertical MRO podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. Join us next time as we continue to explore the fascinating world of helicopter maintenance, repair, and overhaul. This is Val Medved signing off from the Vertical MRO podcast, where we keep you flying safely and efficiently. Till next time, keep those rotors turning. Val, over and out.
This has been the Vertical MRO podcast. Join us next time for another edition of the Vertical MRO podcast, brought to you by Vertical HeliCASTS.